Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members. Uganda is observing the National Science Week from the 2nd to the 9th of November.
Maybe for record purpose, you need to tell the House who you are.
Okay, thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I'm called Dr. Monica Msenero Masanza, the Minister for Science, Technology and Innovation, Office of the President. Right Honorable Speaker, we have been observing this week starting from the 2nd to the 9th November, and we will end the week on the 10th of November with the celebration of the World Science Day. The World Science Day for Peace and Development is annually celebrated on the 10th of November globally. It was initiated by UNESCO in 1937 to recognize and promote science and technology in the advancement of societies. Internationally, the theme is the future of STI, or Science, Technology and Innovation. It's commonly abbreviated as STI. So globally, the theme is future of STI, impacts on education, skills, and work. In Uganda, we have domesticated the theme
Honourable Speaker, I am sorry to interrupt the Honourable Minister making a maiden speech, but since it is a statement, I don't know whether we are proceeding well when this statement is not uploaded on the system, yet we have to use it for our further consumption. And I know in most cases when these ministers finish making their statements, they dash out very fast. So I don't know whether we are proceeding well, Honourable Speaker, when you don't have the statement online.
I've heard the government chief whip saying it is uploaded. Is it uploaded?
Then you give me your iPad.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Second, my friend Seung has been trying his level best to get access to my iPad.
Order, Honourable Speaker.
Right.
The Honourable Minister is calling me Seung, I'm Honourable Seung. Is he in order to say that before the August House?
I'm sorry, my brother.
No, the Speaker has to rule. Is he in order? Your friend, you call him Seung instead of calling him Honourable.
Honourable Seungu, Umsomesa, the members apologized.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I thought the clerk's office had finished uploading, but let me cross-check. But lucky enough, you said we are not going to debate it today, but let's ensure it's uploaded as soon as possible, if it's not yet.
Yes, Honourable Semuju.
Madam Speaker, this statement is by the Minister for Science and Technology.
Please sit.
Is she too big that she must employ another minister to explain the fate of her statement? Her statement is missing, but another minister must stand up to explain. Is she a queen?
Honourable Ibrahim, it is a maiden speech for the Honourable Minister. Please, please, she's coming here for the first time. Let's accord her. She's a girl child. Yesterday you're not here. As we wait for the report to be uploaded, just give us a summary. Don't read it. Just give us a summary about what a science week is, as we wait for it to be just 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. The Science Week precedes the World Science Day for Peace and Development, And in Uganda, we are celebrating it. We started on the 2nd, and we have marked it with 3 major activities. The first one is the Uganda Science Innovators Awards. This is a new introduction in the Uganda environment. Since the 25th of October, we publicly announced a competition, and we had a total of 165 entries. And the process has gone through 5 stages. We are on stage 5. The first stage was the announcement. Then we had the shortlisting of those who have submitted. Then we had the pitching, live pitches, where people, the innovators, the competitors came before a panel of judges. And at the moment, we started on Tuesday, the public to vote their favorite. So where we started with 165, right now we have 30 who are currently competing, and among those, we shall have a total of 12 winners. We were supposed to have 18, but in some groups we didn't have the age categories. Honorable Speaker, these applications came from all over the country, from 34 districts. The second activity that we are marking is an exhibition, which is going to take place at Kololo. We have set up the exhibition in a unique way. There will be 6 centers known as industrial cities. This exhibition is scheduled to open on the 8th. It will be open to the public for 2 days, the 8th and the 9th. On the 10th, we are expecting to celebrate the World Science Day, which will be presided over by His Excellency. So although the exhibition will be still open, but entrance will be restricted. Right, Honorable Speaker, I take this opportunity to invite the honorable members to check out this exhibition when it opens on 8th and 9th. It is intended to showcase what we have in the country and also what we are doing in the field of science, technology, and innovation. Right, Honorable Speaker, I actually am so gratified that we had a lot of entrants. Our youngest applicant, who has qualified to the last stage, is a 9-year-old who saw the challenge of COVID and invented an online learning platform for her fellow primary kids. Right, Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, allow me to just thank the Ugandans and to invite the members of Parliament to participate in the voting of these innovations. The videos are online, and in the paper, you'll see the link. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Gilbert?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I would like to thank the Honourable Minister for the update, but I would like to seek some few clarification from the Honourable Minister. It is true we need to promote sciences, and technology is the way to go as a country. I'd like you, Honourable Minister, to clarify about the Kira EV technology. You remember some 4 to 5 years ago, some group of young men came out with the technology of manufacturing locally made vehicles in this country. And government promised to give support to the group of people who have invented those cars. I would like to find out from you how far it has gone. Secondly, about our Kayola buses. I remember when Kayola buses was introduced in the country, it tours all regions in this country, and government promised to support and inject huge amount of money in order for the company to make so many buses. I would like to find out how far the government has gone. Otherwise, we need to promote technology, and our young people need to be encouraged as far as innovation is concerned. I beg to move.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker and the Honorable Member of Parliament for the question. Chira EV and the Kayola bus are now part of the Chira Motor Corporation, which is driving our indigenous motor vehicle manufacturing. The building of the plant is at 90%, and we hope to launch the plant which manufactures buses by February next year. At the moment, however, buses have been manufactured, and on this Friday, we will have the pleasure to showcase the vehicles which have come out of this process, the different types of buses, and the different type of cases. Thank you.
Thank you. Right Honourable Speaker, I also want to thank the Minister for that information. But Right Honourable Speaker, I saw one time the Kira motor vehicle being transported to Chankwanzi on a car carrier. It was a new vehicle. How could it have been taken by a car carrier? It's a new car. So let me hope that the same story will not happen in the exhibition, that the Kira vehicle comes on a car carrier, it's a new vehicle that's supposed to move on the ground. If the factor is at 90%, how would you carry a new vehicle on a car carrier, meaning it cannot transport or move itself to the destination where it is required? Kindly, that's the question I'm seeking from you.
Yes.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, the clarification I want to get from the Minister is whether we are actually manufacturing or assembling. Because as far as I know, we do not manufacture any part of a vehicle in Uganda. That's as far as I know. So I want the Minister to clear. Is it manufacturing or assembling different parts to make up the Kayola bus? That is the clarification I want to get from you, Honor.
Yes.
Yes, Right Honourable Speaker. I think it was the very kind of clarification I wanted to raise. But the question is, can we get guidance from the Minister where the available plants that do manufacture the different parts that make up the whole vehicle that are located? Because actually we are just receiving statements from the Minister, but actually we cannot ascertain the real plants where they are on their location. Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker. I want to thank the Minister for her statement. Honourable Minister, I'm seeking your clarification and small explanation on the Research and Innovation Fund, which was established by Government of Uganda to support different scientists, researchers and innovators in as far as innovation and research in different lines, science, agriculture, health, and other areas is concerned. There is a general complaint, Honourable Minister, that some few officials within the ministry, your ministries, they just handpick the different innovators and assign them or give them the money instead of having a good framework or a procedure where every Ugandan from every corner of the country can compete and apply and get and benefit from this Research and Innovation Fund for their different research and innovation work. I thank you.
Yes, Brenda.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the Minister for the statement, and also to inform her that the Dubai Expo has been going on and is still going on, and we've been able to view what other countries have been exhibiting in regards to technology. Some countries have come up with robotics, very advanced technology, genomic science, because this helps in medical studies and also advancement of technology and development. I wonder what she's planning, because in primary schools we used to have exhibition days when we do different things, electricity projects, heat projects. I feel like we are still there, Right Honorable Speaker, regardless of what is happening. I need to see that actually Uganda is embarking on a project that is powerful, that's going to be promoted and also sold to other countries. And I think we can only think of being a modern country or a very developed country if we also invest in science and technology. So I need her to tell us how far they are going. I mean, how much is being invested in the areas of genomics, advanced technology, and also the money being allocated to these science laboratories, advanced science laboratories, because we cannot say we are moving if we are not investing in standard labs that can help empower the young people. You go to China, Madam Speaker, and you tell them, do for me this, a small thing, or a template. They'll do it because even a child is exposed to technology at an early age. We are missing out on this because this is the digital era whereby science is taking center stage. So I really want her to inform this House what this government is doing in regards to advanced science and technology. Thank you.
Can we have a response from the Minister on what has been raised? Okay, let's hear from the other side. This student, you respond at once. Yes, Minister.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. The Ministry for Science and Technology and Innovation was abolished. The President said so. But it also resurrected and was transferred to either his office or to his residence. We passed a resolution here.
Honorable Semuju. Honorable Semuju, there is no ministry that has ever been transferred to the President's residence.
Madam Speaker, we passed a resolution here because the minister moved to State House ahead of the ministry. So we passed a resolution here in Parliament transferring both the ministry and the budget to go and meet the minister where she had gone. I had thought that the first thing would be the minister to tell us. I don't know why Africans like ceremonies. But the most important thing for her, the first time she appears in Parliament, is to speak about Science Week. For me, Madam Speaker, and with your permission, I want to ask the minister to tell us whether that transition has now been completed. Because we passed here money for that ministry, then it was transferred, then a request was brought here that now we can also transfer the money to go and meet the ministry somewhere in State House. So has that transition been completed? We, in our resolution, said a vote must be created. That money must not go to the residents, but it must go to a vote. Has that vote been created? Because it will be meaningless for a minister to come here and brief Parliament about a ceremony, a one-week ceremony, and not the ministry and how it is facilitated and what it is doing. I thought, Madam Speaker, and I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to ask the minister to tell Parliament, has the transition been completed? Has the vote been created? Have you paid the staff who are in that ministry?
Honorable Lee.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Madam Speaker. Minister, scientific innovation is as useful as its adoption. We are seeing Ugandans grappling with a number of challenges, and some of the innovations are not aligned to our problems. For example, many cities are grappling with issues of waste management. We are grappling with the issues of inaccessibility to energy. We are grappling with what the president calls, hemorrhage, where we have to import everything, even toothpick. I don't know how your ministry is ensuring that whatever innovations are available gets adopted by the ordinary Ugandans, such that these innovations are just not redundant, but they are very applicable and in use to solve our problems. Secondly, government had proposed that there must be science parks in various regions, and that would help to incubate and accelerate scientific innovation. I wanted to understand the extent to which you have led the government in achieving these strategic objectives. Lastly, a member recently moved that we must ratify a nuclear treaty. There are indeed threats emerging from scientific innovation. There are biological weapons that we must deal with, and countries are moving to put biodefense. Countries are moving to counter cyber threats. I don't know how you are coordinating with the security people to ensure Uganda is safe from threats emerging from the scientific world. Thank you.
Member, thank you so much. Maybe on the issue of Honorable Semuju Ibrahim, the Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation was moved to the office of the President. And when it was moved to the office of the President, we had to act as per the Public Finance Management Act, Section 20, on reallocation of funds from one vote to the other vote. Because originally, Ministry of Innovation had its own vote, which vote was now transferred to the office of the President. That is a transfer of funds together with the functions. The question of Honorable Semuju is, much as we did that as per Section 20 of the Public Finance Management Act, is that process completed now? Because before you came to this House, there was a complaint of how some members were not paid, how some members had been laid off. That is, I think, the clarification the House needs to know. And then the other issue is whether we really have a manufacturing plant here or an assembling plant. We bring and we assemble here.
Right, Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. The process of manufacturing or assembly are different. However, in vehicle manufacturing globally, there are part suppliers who supply, and then there are the people who manufacture. In Uganda, currently, we import a number of components, and we make. The bus body is made here, and our strategy is to make sure that we can make at
Members.
least 65%
Members, the minister
of
is
the
being
bus
sincere.
by 2030.
The minister is being sincere. She's saying
Yes.
we do the assembly.
Right, Honorable Speaker, thank you. We work like all the other vehicle manufacturers. We source parts. Some of the parts are sourced internally and some are imported. And we build the vehicle. So the vehicles are currently manufactured. The ones that we have, the test ones, at Luwero Industries.
There's an order. There's an
At
order,
Luwero
Honourable Minister.
Industries.
Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker. The beauty behind science, scientific words are very clear. Certain things you don't even have to describe them. Manufacturing and assembling are two different words, and therefore the minister does not have to use very many words to explain to us whether we are manufacturing or assembling. I think the minister is, I don't know whether the minister is in order to confuse the House by saying we are manufacturing, while in instance she's describing assembling.
Honorable Member, I already commented and said the minister is being sincere, and she's saying we are assembling. The parts are being brought and we assemble. So let the minister finish it. The problem, you don't want to accept that you don't manufacture. Why don't you accept that you assemble? That's what she has said, we are assembling. Minister, continue. Minister, 2 minutes. You're talking to the speaker, don't listen to whatever they are saying.
Thank you.
This is a maiden speech. Kind the members.
The second issue was about the Innovation Fund. The Innovation Fund for up to the last financial year was implemented. And when I was appointed, I put in place a task force which is preparing a report. The current Innovation Fund has been put on hold until we have the modalities or the performance of the other one cleared. The mechanism for selection of the current innovation competition is public and very straightforward. Whether a few individuals were being selected, we shall get from the report. The status of Uganda's technology, we are working on it. We know where we are.
Honorable Minister, we will get it from the report, but what
Yes,
members
please.
are saying,
Thank you.
that you need to be transparent in how this fund is being given out, being accessed. People need to know. Because if they don't have information, then they will not be able to access. So basically, people need information.
Right Honorable Speaker, there is a committee which was put in place, and I've got the complaints. That's why I put in place this task force to come up with ways of improving the transparency. So the next Innovation Fund will not be given out until we address those issues. Honorable Speaker, the issue of transition and the process is as you described, and the process of the transition is ongoing, but not yet completed. So there are some things which are not yet completed, but the process is
Let the minister first finish.
The issue of nuclear, belongs to another ministry. Thank you, Honorable
First
Speaker.
wait. She shall finish. What do you want to clarify?
Right, Honorable Speaker. The clarification I would like to seek from the Honorable Minister about the Innovation Fund is that would you consider decentralizing the Innovation Fund and creation of innovation committees at a decentralized level? In Uganda, I'll give you an example. The more you centralize the activities, the more you'll not hit the notch. If you look at Japan and Germany, innovation committees are from wards and villages, right, Honorable Speaker, because we have young men and women outside there that are innovative in various skills in science and technology. I'll give you an example. The humble person that has innovated that banana fibers, and that is science and technology, that banana fibers would provide the best material for manufacture of paper money, is a humble Ugandan down there in Kigezi. And I wonder whether these people have taken time to even scout for that person. And you can look out and try to search for this. The more we decentralized the art of scouting innovative ideas down to the village level, involvement of the political will of leaders at that level, the more we may achieve. Now, the point of clarification I would like to seek from you is as to whether you and your committee now are reconsidering the issue of decentralization of scouting of innovative ideas and pitches, whether it's in science and technology, ICT, or innovation of all levels, down to the parishes or sub-counties and wards. Tell this House.
The minister should come back with a report on innovation, technology, science, innovation, and technology, and give this House information on what you really do and how you do it. So for now, she's telling us this is Science, Technology, Innovation Week. Now we are giving you time. Come back to this House. Tell us about the funding. Tell us about the transition process. Tell us about the funds that we put in Makerere on innovation. Tell us the criteria of how you choose which people benefit. And you'll give us that information in the next 2 weeks' time. Honorable, next item.
Item number 3, statement by Minister on update on COVID-19 vaccination.
Honorable members, yesterday we had an assignment that we had given Honorable Chen on ascertaining the status of Honorable Segirinya Mohammed. The report has been brought to our office, and we're in consultation with the leader of opposition, and we'll inform the House on the next step, on the action that we have taken. But we're in consultation with the executive, with the leader of opposition, and Parliament. And as we agreed yesterday, it's not ethical to talk about one's health, but we are handling the situation. Thank you. Honorable Chen.
Madam Speaker.
Yes.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank you for following up on the matter of our colleague, the Honorable Segirinya. And I'll take your guidance. But the Honorable Alan Sewanyana is also sick. I don't know whether this Parliament will wait until he's at the level of Honorable Segirinya to intervene. Maybe you can take advantage of people who have been in prison, like Honorable Chris Bariomus. Tell us what happens there. Because people go there when they are okay, but they...
Actually, we'll ask Honorable Acheng to even follow up on the issue of Honorable Alan and give us a feedback. But at least one thing we can tell you, we are closely following it up. Honorable Ruth.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Allow me to start by appreciating you for informing the House. And I do apologize to the House. I am also a medical personnel. I cannot break my ethics. And she has given you a good report. Right Honorable Speaker, my duty today is to update this august House on vaccination. Allow me to start by updating you on the status of COVID-19 vaccination in the country. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, the national objective of the COVID-19 pandemic response is to minimize the number of infections and deaths. Response activities are determined and guided by the National Task Force through a multi-sectoral approach. And in line with the above objective, the response strategy is currently focusing on the following interventions. 1, surveillance. As of 1st November, the country had registered 126,272 confirmed cases of COVID-19 and 3,217 deaths. Additionally, the current admission stands at 298 in both public and private facilities and 15 deaths in the last 7 days. The hotspot regions are Teso, Lango, Kigezi, and Kampala metropolitan area. Right Honorable Speaker, I provided a curve there for people to look at and compare the first wave that we had in 2020 and the current second wave. In order to prevent a third wave, an importation or emergency of new variants in the country, the National Task Force is carrying out the following activities. 1, enhancing surveillance in all districts for early identification of cases. 2, enhancing surveillance at the airport and all the 53 official land border crossing points. 3, carrying out regular and systematic genomic sequencing to detect any new variants, locally emerging or imported. Genomic sequencing is when we look at the different clans of the genes. 4, through Ministry of Education and Sports, we are supporting head teachers, heads of learning institutions to carry out surveillance and early reporting of suspected cases in tertiary institutions that are open and the rest of the schools once they are open. And 5, under surveillance, we are following up the use of rapid antigen self-tests with the World Health Organization, and once approved, we will consider its use in schools. Number 2, safe reopening of sectors under lockdown. Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members, His Excellency the President has continuously eased restrictions on most sectors. During his most recent address to the nation on the 28th of October 2021, the President promised to open up the economy fully by January 2020. This decision will be guided by the completed vaccination of 4.8 million priority groups and others. However, the National Task Force continues to review the epidemiological picture and the vaccination coverage of the priority groups and eligible populations. Number 3 is patient care. Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members, during the second wave, the following was experienced: high patient numbers, inadequate oxygen supply, insufficient bed capacity, and high cost of care in the private facilities and retention of dead bodies. Against this background, the following is being undertaken. We are fast-tracking the installation of oxygen plants of two types. The pressure swing adsorption is the gaseous type at National Hospital 1, that is Mulago, Regional Referral Hospitals 15, and cryogenic liquid plants at 3 designated regions. We are preparing selected district hospitals in hard-to-reach areas and islands as treatment centers to cater for patients that have challenges accessing regional referral hospitals. We are strengthening home-based care through refresher training of VHTs and equipping them with home-based care toolkits. The toolkits comprise of a pulse oximeter, a timer, a thermometer, disposable gloves, aprons, sanitizers, reusable face masks, a torch, gumboots, bag, medicine box, job aids, registers, and referral forms for them to use. And lastly, under patient care, follow up with schools to designate sick bays as isolation units for mildly sick children and equip them with basic infection prevention and control materials. Number 4, strengthening decentralized response. Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members, the implementation of the preventive health measures is majorly carried out by the local governments. The National Task Force will ensure continuous functionality of district, sub-county, and village task forces. I will now move to COVID-19 vaccination. Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members, vaccines are the safest and most cost-effective proven public health intervention for the prevention and control of COVID-19 infections. COVID-19 vaccines prevent severe disease and hospitalization and protects the healthcare system from being overwhelmed. The government of Uganda prioritizes COVID-19 vaccination as a strategic intervention for control of the pandemic and for safe and sustainable reopening of the economy. A total of 22 million people, these are UBOS estimates 2021, above 18 years of age are eligible for vaccination. However, 4.8 million vulnerable populations, those are health workers, teachers, security personnel, the elderly 50 years and above, and those below 50 with comorbidities, were prioritized for vaccination first. Furthermore, 330,000 students in tertiary institutions aged 18 years and above have been included in the priority category to facilitate reopening of these institutions. On the 10th of March 2021, government launched COVID-19 vaccination following receipt of 864,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccines through the COVAX facility, and a donation of 100,000 doses of the same vaccine from the government of India. Since then, the vaccination program has been rolled out to the entire country. Eligible persons are required to report to the vaccination site with the following documentation: national identity cards or any other identification documents like a driving permit, work permit, passport, or refugee identity card. Other means of identification can be used like letters from the local councils. Identification is extremely important for purposes of record, follow-up, and a reminder to receive 1 second dose of the vaccine. Individuals that are eligible and without any form of identification will still be vaccinated using a next of kin means of identification. Individuals who are reporting for their second doses should come with their vaccination cards. Government is providing 2 forms of vaccination documents to every person who is vaccinated. 1, we give a vaccination card at the vaccination point after one receives the first dose of the vaccine. 2 is an electronic vaccination certificate with a QR code that is generated by the District Health Information System 2 weeks after full vaccination. This certificate can be generated and downloaded by accessing the link that I have provided. And Right Honourable Speaker, the good news is that the United Kingdom is recognizing our digital vaccination certificates. We are working with the European Union also for them to recognize our vaccination certificates. Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable Members, Government has received offers of COVID-19 vaccine adequate for 27 million people as follows. 18 million doses of the Sinopharm vaccine from China that will be procured by Government of Uganda through the COVAX facility. This will cover 9 million people of the target population. It is estimated to arrive between October and December 2021. 9 million doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine that is being procured through the African Union. This will cover 9 million people. It is estimated to arrive between September 2021 and September 2022. 18 million doses of vaccines through donations from the COVAX facility and other country-to-country donations to cover 9 million people. These will be various vaccines depending on availability, and so far we have received over 5 million doses, that is AstraZeneca, Sinovac, Pfizer, and Moderna. To date, government has received a total of 8,891,410 doses through donations, of which 3,938,730 doses have been utilized countrywide. Distribution of the remaining 4,605,080 doses is ongoing. Of this, government has procured 3,478,000 doses and more is expected. We expect an additional 12,288,750 doses of various vaccines by the end of December 2021. And Right Honourable Speaker, I have provided a table there, that is table 2, showing vaccines received between March to October 2021. Again, on the next page, table 3 is showing us vaccine pipeline between November to December 2021, totaling to the 12,288,750,000 doses. Table 4 is vaccine pipeline up to 2022, and when you look through, those are government purchases of Johnson & Johnson and Sinopharm, totaling to 23,539,600 doses. Pipelines of donations can only be known once they are communicated by COVAX facility. By the end of that year, we will have received over 44,700,000 doses. COVID-19 vaccination strategy. Right Honourable Speaker, Honourable Members, the Ministry of Health developed a COVID-19 vaccination plan and a deployment plan to guide the vaccination program.
Yes. Order.
Right Honourable Speaker, the rules of this House are very clear on the dress code, but it seems we are becoming another fashion house. As you can see, Honorable General Kahinda Zaverio Otafire has arrived in this house Minister of Internal Affairs wearing a curtain-like material in a shirt that does not conform to the rules of this House. Right Honorable Speaker, we need your guidance and ruling. Right, General Tafila is one of the most respected people in this House and a seasoned politician and senior at that. Seeing him wearing something similar to a curtain may put this August House in a very dishonorable situation. Right Honorable Speaker, we deserve a ruling. Otherwise, we might start copying from him.
Right Honorable Nsereko, you raised an issue and again. The general is putting on African wear, which is allowed in this House. But it is also good that you had to introduce General because some members didn't know him. General, you're welcome. Have a seat. Can we continue with the statement from the Minister?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would like to inform the Honourable Member of Parliament, my friend Honourable Nsereko, that this is a House of Parliament, not a fashion show, and this is called Mandela shirt. I thank you very much.
Honorable Achen, I think people just needed a moment of...
Right, Honorable Speaker, we needed a light moment.
A light moment, we needed a light moment.
Yes, and we thank the Honorable.
Yes, Right Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. I do appreciate that that is a Mandela shirt, but it is worn in a certain way. Can I request my good friend, General Kahindo Tafiri, you saw that when you wear a Mandela shirt, you must button the last button here. Please just button to complete it.
Honorable Sarah, can
Thank
you
you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Members, Honorable Sarah, can you go and button for him?
Order. Order. Order.
Members, Honorable Chen, can you continue with your statement?
Order.
Can you continue
Order.
with your statement?
Order.
Members, let's continue with the
Procedure, Madam Speaker.
Members, let's continue with the report. Honorable Chen, can you continue with the report? Let's not take everything just like for a joke.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. But I humbly request that you allow the General to release that button. It is
The man
tight.
will suffocate.
Right Honorable Speaker, the Uganda COVID-19 vaccination implementation plan, which I will lay on table, has the following objectives. The general objective is to vaccinate 22 million people 18 years and above against COVID-19 by the end of 2022. Specifically, we are going to vaccinate 4.8 priority people by the end of December 2021. 2, we plan to utilize all the 6.5 million doses of vaccines received in the country by the end of December 2021 by vaccinating eligible persons 18 years and above, meaning we have opened up vaccination to everybody 18 years and above. 3, to utilize all vaccines received in the country before expiry, and 4, to conduct vaccination outreaches closer to the communities. The Ministry of Health also developed principles to guide COVID-19 vaccine implementation plan, and the principles are 1, equity, equitable access to vaccines by all individuals, populations, and districts, including marginalized, vulnerable, displaced, and imprisoned populations. 2, quality. The World Health Organization authorized vaccines are used. Adequate cold chain has been secured and maintained, and vaccination is carried out by trained health workers under supervision. And 3, health systems and a multi-sector approach to strengthen existing service delivery mechanisms with full participation of the communities. Progress on vaccinating the 4.8 million priority population. Right, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, so far, about 2.5 million, that is 51.7% of the 4.8 million priority populations have received the first dose of COVID-19 vaccines, while 705,000 people, 14.7%, have received the second dose and are therefore fully vaccinated. I have provided a table which shows the performance of vaccination of the priority groups. However, it is important to note that figures depend on timely entry of data into our electronic system called EpiVac by individual districts, and many districts delay to upload data due to challenges of connectivity, power, and internet bundles. This implies that the number of people vaccinated is higher than what is captured in the table below, as evidenced by the vaccine utilization data. And Right Honorable, as you can see, 90% of the health workers have received the first dose, 63% security, teachers 66%, the elderly only 13.6%, and people with comorbidities only 7.4%. I will request that you allow me not to go through the table. Members can continue to look at it. The vaccination of the priority groups has been slow due to the following factors. Initially, vaccination sites were limited to 5 per district, and this affected access to vaccination. Then the vaccines were also limited in amount. 2, there was limited availability of vaccines between the months of March and August 2021. 3, myths and misconceptions surrounding the COVID-19 vaccination. And 4, inadequate mobilization and sensitization of the population by the district leaders. Right Honorable Speaker, in order to increase uptake, the Ministry of Health has expanded the vaccination activity from only static sites in the health facilities to include outreaches in communities. So we go to churches, we are going to taxi parks, markets, bars, etc. This has increased the number of vaccination points and taken vaccines nearer to the communities. Beginning the 8th of November, the Ministry of Health will be holding regional vaccination campaigns, beginning with the regions of high infection, and these include Teso, Lango, Acholi, Chigezi, and Kampala metropolitan area. The full breakdown is in the vaccination plan that I have provided. Tertiary institutions will also have outreach sites so that students returning to their institutions can be vaccinated. Right Honorable Speaker, to prepare the country for the COVID-19 vaccination, government and partners evaluated the entire cold chain system to assess the capacity for storage of vaccines of all temperatures. Government has adequate capacity for storage of vaccines at 2 to 8 degrees for 3 million doses, and for -15 to -25 at 35 million doses across the country. To date, government has enhanced capacity to store vaccines that require ultra-cold temperatures, that is -80, to 4.5 million doses. This is adequate for vaccines that require such temperatures. On awareness creation, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, to mobilize and sensitize leaders and the communities in order to create awareness and increase demand for COVID-19 vaccination, the Ministry has undertaken the following. 1, regular media engagement through statements, press releases, talk shows, media blitz, and and media. B, developed and disseminated a booklet with key messages and talking points on COVID-19 vaccination to guide leaders and health workers. C, we have developed and disseminated a booklet on frequently asked questions on vaccines and COVID-19. D, regular development and dissemination of social media interactive posts with key messages on COVID-19. E, sensitization of religious, cultural, and political leaders. F, we have held several trainings for the media on COVID-19 vaccination for purposes of correct reporting. G, we have trained public relation officers of all ministries, departments, and agencies to support sensitization within their respective organizations and institutions. H, we have trained social media influencers to communicate correctly critical information, to demystify rumors, misinformation, and myths. I, we have oriented district task forces on COVID-19 vaccination. J, we have procured airtime in the major media houses to disseminate information for awareness creation in the local languages. And K, supporting local governments to conduct grassroots mobilization of communities by provision of job aids, information booklets to VHTs. Adverse events following COVID-19 vaccination. Adverse events are side effects. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, the Ministry of Health, the National Drug Authority, and partners are monitoring and managing possible adverse events following vaccination through the following. A, task the district teams to promptly report any adverse event following immunization. B, thoroughly investigate and manage reports received accordingly. And C, we have assembled a team of specialists that comprises of hematologists, epidemiologists, vaccinologists, physicians, and pathologists to evaluate the reports, investigate and manage cases, and provide scientific evidence for correlation, if any. Financing for the national COVID-19 vaccination. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, the total cost of the national COVID-19 vaccination plan, including costs of vaccines and supplies, storage and distribution, and operational costs in the districts is Uganda shillings 1.4 trillion, or 1,400 billion. Government and partners have already provided part of the funds, amounting to Uganda shillings 619.5 billion, as seen in the breakdown below. A, funds from Gavi for vaccine deployment, 12.8 billion. B, supplementary budget by Government of Uganda in financial year 2020-2021 for vaccines procurement, 18.5 billion. C, contingency funding from Government of Uganda in financial year 2020-2021 for vaccines procurement and operational costs, 30 billion. D, allocation to national medical stores by Government of Uganda in financial year 2020-2021 for vaccines procurement and handling, 80 billion. E, reallocation from the item of vaccine co-financing for the traditional vaccines for purchase of syringes for COVID-19 vaccination by Government of Uganda, financial year 2020-2021, 3.9 billion. Total costs of vaccines, that's the 18 million doses expected through donations, comes to Uganda shillings 475.5 billion. The funding gap for the purchase of vaccines and supplies, storage and distribution and operational costs is Uganda shillings 790.8 billion at an exchange rate of US dollars 3,600. The funding gap was communicated to the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development in a letter dated 7 September 2021. This gap is exclusive of donations received. I have written here that we await their response, but I have been made aware that 560 billion has been set aside for vaccines, and the Minister for Finance can confirm. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to submit.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chen, and thank you for the comprehensive report. We'll debate this report for 20 minutes. Upload.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to appreciate the Minister for the submission. Madam Speaker, on the task forces, that is the district task forces, the sub-county and the village task forces, I want to present this with an assumption that it could be a problem also in another district. In Kumi district, you are aware, Madam Speaker, that every village task force was given facilitation. The money that was sent was less 57 parishes, and it affected the performance of the district task forces. So I expected the minister to have made a hint on such and given a proposal or a way forward to that effect, because the task force is actually following on this since it was from us. And then, Madam Speaker, I also want to share and let the House know, although the minister said that there is a procedure and follow-up on people who realize some side effects, the management is not easily handled at the district level. I wanted to find out from the minister, since she is a doctor by profession, are there specific conditions that should be considered as the vaccination is going on so that they can, for instance, be exempted for some time? Because the people down there have been giving that and wanting to have clarification from the minister. I thank you.
Next.
Thank you, the Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Akelo Christine, Member of Parliament from Erute North constituency. Mine is just a question to the Minister. They're only vaccinating people of age of 18 and above, but below 18, they're not vaccinating them. And yet we are aware that students are the front carriers of the COVID. Last time the schools were closed, and they are the very people who infected parents. When the schools were closed, the rate of increase of COVID was high. So what is going to happen if they are not vaccinated and yet the schools are soon going to be reopened? Thank you. I beg to submit.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the Minister for her statement on the status of COVID and vaccination. However, my concern is about the students, as they are among the priority people to be vaccinated. Most of these students do not have national cards, and when you go to these vaccination centers, they are being turned away. As she was talking, she mentioned the identification cards that are needed. She talked of passport, work permits, refugee identity cards, but she did not talk about any identification for students. She talked about using guardian cards, but is it possible to use student identification cards? Because once you turn away these students, they get demoralized. They may not even go back the next day, and yet they are a priority if we are to reopen schools safely. Can the Ministry of Internal Affairs explain to us, because in 2017, they went to all schools in Uganda, registering students for national IDs. Till now, they have not got these identity cards. What they do, they give a certain number that you show, but this is not enough. Can you please tell us the status of these IDs that were registered way back in 2017? I thank you.
Yana.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I add my voice to thank the Minister for trying her best to make sure that we fight the pandemic. However, in her report, she has read to us most of the supplies for COVID are either donations, importations, the procurements from us are limited. Madam Speaker, I want this House to recall that in 2020, a certain group of, I may call, scientists convinced the President that they could produce a vaccine for COVID. And indeed, they went ahead and drew big sums of money. In 2020, they drew 20 billion under a company called Preside. Preside, which is a sole company under the directorship of the one who has been here called Dr. Msenero, is part of us. In 2021, she convinced the President that when she is a Minister for Science, she will produce a vaccine. She went ahead and got 50 billion from the Ministry of Science. The scientists in the Ministry of Science have not gotten any salary. They have even abolished the ministry, but she went ahead to get 50 billion that she's going to make a vaccine. Yesterday, as of yesterday, I was at their head office in Ntinda, where the Preside is, where the so-called Preside is. I have not found there any test tube in that office. There is no laboratory. I have not found there any scientist, because I found there her cousin, who is the security guard guarding on the chairs in the office. We want to know. She ran away, but Madam Speaker, let this Parliament not be used for rubber stamping of masqueraders to come and withdraw money and siphon and take, and we remain here clapping. We are passing a budget when we are passing it people's pockets. Madam Speaker, I beg that the Minister of Ruth is suffering a lot importing, looking for donations when our own money can buy Ugandans medicine, when the money has been siphoned by so-called people who have marketed themselves, gone to whoever would be to the President and lied him that they can. They even chase away the right doctors who would do for us wonders in the Ministry of Science. They go ahead and convince the President to even abolish science, abolish the whole ministry, or in the name of siphoning the country. Madam Speaker, I beg to move that through the Minister of Health, who is suffering on importations, on donations of COVID, that the money which was given for COVID should be given accountability under that Ministry of Science, because she's part of us. Information allowed.
Thank you, my brother, for giving me way to give you information. Madam Speaker, what my honorable colleague has stated is a very serious allegation. And good enough, he has actually decided to mention it in this House. And therefore, we cannot take it any lightly. The information I want to give to the member, if you can guide Madam Speaker, is that he should come with a personal statement on this matter, so that the members are able to internalize it, the members are able to talk about it, and then we see how we can be able to go, because you can see if 50 billion of Uganda shillings has been given to a minister to manufacture a vaccine, and up to now, we still do not have that vaccine. I think that's a very serious allegation that has to be investigated, Madam Speaker. That's the information I want to give you. Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
Honorable Member, first of all, what you're saying is an allegation. You've not backed up with any evidence. If you want this House to take what you're saying, please lay the evidence on table, so that we appreciate that what you're saying is really the truth about the Honorable Minister. And what I would also request, since we've asked the Minister to come back to the House, keep your question and bring it up when she's in the House. We cannot discuss about a person who is not in the House. For now, she asked for permission. She's appearing before the Budget Committee. I gave her permission to go to the Budget Committee. So members, let's handle it when she's in the house. We all appreciate your concerns, but we want evidence laid on table to back up on the allegations.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I've never stood here on hearsay. Madam Speaker, I have a privilege to have been a former assistant commissioner in the Ministry of Science. I'm talking from an informed point of view. Madam Speaker, the Innovation Fund, which we have...
Lay the evidence on table.
I can lay myself, first of all.
Can we go to the next person? Can we go to the next person?
Madam Speaker. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Honorable government want an accountability on the money that is transferred to innovation, technology. We need
Madam Speaker, this is not fair.
And we need all information backing up the allegation that Yona is bringing on table. And Yona, we'll get that report. We'll get that report.
Motion, Madam Speaker. Motion.
Can I hear from government?
Hey,
Motion.
Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Motion, Madam Speaker.
Motion on what?
Right Honourable Speaker. The issues raised by...
The way I like your indiscipline of standing when another person is speaking. Can you sit and somebody speaks?
Right Honourable Speaker. The issues raised by Honourable Yona are serious allegations. I'm going to pick a copy of the answer. I pass it on to the minister so that the moment she's answering or she's bringing the statement on the Innovation Fund, she has to respond to the allegations being brought on this table. Thank you.
Procedural from Leader of Opposition.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I did listen very attentively to my old friend, the Honourable Yona Msinguzi. And he was not only animated in his submission, but was even willing to lay himself as evidence. To the allegations.
Where is it provided in the rules that you can lay yourself in?
That is how dramatic and animated his submission was, Right Honourable Speaker.
So which part of his body is he laying on table?
Right Honourable Speaker, that was the crowning moment of his animated submission. And on a very, very serious note, Right Honourable Speaker, those are very grave allegations. Grave to the person of the Honourable Minister, grave to the manner in which public affairs are being handled. And the Honourable Minister from here asked for permission to go to the Budget Committee, probably to defend another haste, if I can borrow the submission of the Honourable Member. Right Honourable Speaker, I think this House can do this country justice, and with your indulgence, to ask the Honourable Minister to appear before the relevant Committee of Parliament, before her supplementary is considered, to explain herself, and the Honourable Member should appear with the evidence in the committee, to the committee, and make these allegations, and the Minister should explain herself before we can consider any further requests from her office. And that report should come to Parliament, and the Minister should defend herself on these allegations, Honourable Speaker.
Government.
Thank you, Right Honourable. Right Honorable, it's going to be very difficult for us to operate when a member will come, make very serious and wide allegations without any evidence, and you start subjecting a minister to a committee, subjecting someone personal statements. I would request, Right Honorable Speaker, that the member is given time to lay on table the evidence he has. And then the moment you get that substantive evidence, Right Honorable Speaker, you guide on the next step. I thank you.
Members, there is no motion you're bringing. Members, as I said before, we cannot debate on somebody who is not in the House. We've asked the minister to bring a report to this House in 2 weeks. But on the allegation that has been put on table, we can ask the minister to come here on Tuesday to respond on the allegation that has been brought by Honorable Musingusi. And Honorable Musingusi should also come with evidence to what he's saying. Let's have this thing debated on Tuesday before the supplementary budget comes in, such that if we see the substance on the matter, then we'll suspend the supplementary budget. So if we have that concluded, then we sort out everything. Yes, Chris?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I have listened to the President several times in his addresses, and he continues to assure Ugandans that the Ugandan scientists are developing a vaccine against COVID-19. Now, in the light of the allegations being raised by Honorable Yona Musingus, we could request the Minister to update Parliament on the process of developing a vaccine, because I don't think she received money as an individual to do the vaccine.
Order.
So I agree with your guidance.
Order.
That we require.
Honorable Musinguzi, you don't switch on the mic and start saying order. Let's have respect for the Speaker's chair.
Yes. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I agree with your guidance that we could require the Minister, maybe on Tuesday, to come and update the House on the process of developing the vaccine, given that this Parliament passed money for that process. And then we shall take a decision after listening to the Minister, instead of rushing to condemn her when we have not listened to her.
Thank you.
Formation.
Thank you. Maybe I also want to...
Information.
Excellency, you are most welcome to the House, and the Government Chief Whip, we need this information to be passed on to the Minister. The Minister should be in this House on Tuesday to respond to that, and she must come with all the relevant documents backing up what she's doing, on how much she has taken, on the transition period, process, what is happening, on what was raised before. So,
most obliged, Right
for procedure.
When you switch on the mic and you start saying procedure, I will not give you to talk. Honorable Angora, you will come after him. He's also on procedure.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to thank the Minister of Health for the report she has given. However, a few concerns that need to be taken very seriously as far as the COVID pandemic fight is concerned. Madam Minister.
Procedure. Honorable Semuju, today you've taken long here.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much, and I want to thank you for your guidance. The Honorable Yona Musinguzi was cut midway when he was giving this Parliament information. The Minister is being instructed to come here and defend information that has not been completely given. Ordinarily, all the information must be given to Parliament and then the minister can come and answer. So the procedural issue I'm raising, Madam Speaker, if the minister turns up here on Tuesday as you have guided, to respond to only what the member had so far said, and the member raises more other serious issues, like he was doing before, Madam Speaker, because he wanted many other people to speak. So what do we do as a House? He has started because you are limited by time, you stop, and the minister is instructed to come and answer. So the procedural issue I'm raising is whether, at least by the practice of this Parliament, Madam, you don't allow the member to give this Parliament full information, and then all that information is given to the minister to come and answer.
Honorable Semujo, if the member did not finish his question, can you put your question down in writing to the minister, such that you have all the information that is required and it is documented? As far as I know, I've given you, each of you, 2 minutes to debate. If you want to come and make a presentation for 2 hours, bring it on the order paper. Angura.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I had started by appreciating the Minister of Health for the statement she has made, but also requested that some gaps are still hanging that need to be tied very seriously for our community to respond positively in helping us fight the pandemic. Number one, Madam Speaker, I want the Minister to take note and verify whether the 400,000 shillings that was advanced to every village in relation to paying the VHTs, and then the chairperson of LOC1 and his task force reached the villages. Then number two, Honorable Minister, there's a lot of concern as far as waiting in motion is concerned. What is waiting in motion? People leave their homes early to go for vaccination that they have engulfed now, but it takes them long. Those who go in the morning come back in the afternoon. That the waiting is so long, and the people there, maybe they are not well facilitated. We need to take care of that because it is leading to apathy for those who go and then return late. They have talked about the issues of IDs. It is very important that we take note of this. It is not only students who don't have IDs, but we also have many of our community people whose IDs either did not come or IDs have got lost. So we need to take care of this, and probably by you addressing the media and all other media houses to capture this very sensitive information, that ID is a requirement, but any ID that is available should be considered for that nature. Then lastly, Madam Speaker, even some of us who've been vaccinated, I remember vaccination started here in Parliament, but to our surprise, there are members of Parliament and our support staff and many others across the country who've received all the 2 jabs, but the data capture seems to be having a problem. Their certificates have not been issued to date. So it is something that we must take note to ensure that we really create some confidence in what we are doing for purposes of supporting those. Thank you, information.
Yeah, thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I would like to give the information to my colleague, a very important information, Right Honourable Speaker. When the students reported to the universities, many students were denied never to enter university without being vaccinated. Right Honourable Speaker, let the minister clarify this very seriously. And when students went for vaccination, many of them were told in other centers that the vaccines are not there. And many students were asked to go with that national identity card. Other students do not have national identity card. Now many students are stranded. They are denied never to enter university. This is very serious, right, Honourable Speaker. Thank you, my colleague.
Thank you very much for that information. As I conclude, Madam Speaker, the public out there seemed to have picked the position that Parliament adopted to restrict those who don't have vaccination cards from entering. The talk is going around that very soon you might not go to public places. So if this spirit can be engulfed, I think we can move very fast and get many of our people vaccinated. I thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, the Right Honourable Speaker. I want to thank the Minister for the report. This report is good for the consumption of the country, given the circumstance now that almost all the institutions want people to have the vaccination card. And given that the report that you have given to us that even the vaccine is not going to be enough, why don't you adopt a multi-pronged approach? Especially now that we have some scientists here. For example, during the time when we had a very heavy problems of COVID-19, Professor or Dr. Ogwang came out with Covidex. And even in Gulu, there was called Covilests. To what extent now do we have just kind of treatment? And yet it has been helping people. I have a testimony. One person got infected with COVID-19 from Kalongo, and we moved with this Covidex and gave to them in the hospital. Within only 3 days, the person recovered. Can you help us as the country to know about the fate of Covidex and Covilests so that this thing can help the country to curb down this pandemic? However, we thank you so much for the good report that you have given. Maybe lastly, about this fly and tests. I was waiting to hear something about that kind of tests. Test and fly.
That was discussed yesterday.
I missed that, and I need to understand about it. Thank you so much.
Honorable members, one, I want to really thank the Minister of Health and other professional bodies. We've gone through a hard time in Uganda. They've really tried their best to manage COVID. And we must thank government for the efforts that they've really put. And it is us in this house really to support and see that we curb this COVID-19. We have some loopholes, but this can be sorted out. They are not as serious as they may be. What we need is to encourage our people to go and get vaccinated. I get surprised. When I hear when we say everybody must come to the house with a vaccination card, and then somebody serves me with a notice of intention to sue because I have said. Our role as leaders of this house is to ensure your safety. Our role as leaders of this house is to ensure your safety. And we want to assure you we've taken a decision as Parliament and will not allow anybody to intimidate Parliament. We must act as examples to this country. Let members, let people get vaccinated. Go and mobilize your people to be vaccinated. We need people alive to vote for you tomorrow. But if we don't advise them to be vaccinated, you mean the dead bodies will vote for you? Leader of opposition? Leader of opposition?
Thank you.
And then we'll hear from the Minister.
Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I would like to appreciate the Honourable Minister for the statement. Of course, the whole country is very keen on the extent and depth of the vaccination outreach so that the country can be opened up and citizens resume their normal lives. I have essentially 2-3 concerns which I would like the Minister to address. One is that the vaccines we have enlisted are about, 5 or so varieties. So if somebody takes Pfizer today, will the next procurement follow that trend to know that I've sent 50 doses of Pfizer to Masaka and therefore I must follow up with the same at the next procurement? What will happen if, for example, you fail to get the same type for the same region in the same numbers? What will happen to citizens? Is it safe to be inoculated with different types at different intervals? Because the numbers are staggered, the numbers are inconsistent, and the reception is also inconsistent. Kindly clarify to citizens such that people do not go or rush for a second jab of a different variety. I'm advised that there are types for which you require a single jab. Are they at our disposal? Can we be advised? How many of that type so far have been sent to the community? Honourable Speaker, the second issue I would like the Minister to address is that Parliament gave the Ministry 18 billion to procure vaccines. How many of that so far has been absorbed before we hanker for donations? Initially, the argument was that vaccines have been rationed and they're not available. They're now available. How much of this has been utilized for us to be sure that we're no longer at the mercy of donors, but we are able to procure and in time to be able to take care of the needs of the country? The third concern, Honourable Speaker and colleagues, is the situation of health workers involved in this exercise. Will the Minister assure this House and the country that she has mobilized enough logistics to take care of the desired and required health workers so that we do not end up with expiries in storage because of failure to mobilize resources to sustain health workers? The complaints of allowances are awash, and we have not had confirmation from government that indeed they have taken care of this concern, and therefore the health workers are at peace and therefore be able to turn up and provide the necessary service to the citizens. Lastly, as a scientist, there are concerns out there which partly explains, there are, cases in some areas where the uptake by men is very limited, and the concern by men in silence. I hope members of Parliament are not part of the reason that some of these vaccines have tendencies of arousing impotence in men, and therefore men are scared of these. Yes, I've heard it. The doctors must have picked it. That the boy child is so scared of this vaccine, and therefore is wary of the future with this vaccination. Honourable Minister and Doctor, please assure that the boy child is insured against impotence. Cut us off this vaccine. Thank you.
Leader of opposition, I think it is only you can assure, because You are the boy child.
Right, Honourable Speaker.
I think Algon has information. Maybe
Yes,
I'll
allow him space to give you.
Yes, Allah. Right, Honourable Speaker, indeed, the boy child is concerned. And you know, the problem with the boys here is that they find it hard to give testimony before these numbers. But the scare is true, everybody is scared. But away from that, allow me to sneak this to the loop. There is a concern in the country, away from the concerns of the boy child, about the single registry. In the event that we have another lockdown, how do we track the most vulnerable people for the urgent interventions? For instance, the money which was given by the Prime Minister. How do we handle that? That is another question that the government should be able to give us a strategy. Our social protection system, do we have a robust one? These are issues of concern. Very okay. We are very okay. Information.
I think the information by the honourable member will require another day, and hopefully the Prime Minister should be able to respond via the question to the Prime Minister to come and properly elaborate on the social safeguards you have for the community. You are aware how we all got scattered, you know. Let me take information from the Honourable Nguzuri, right, Honourable Speaker, because it helps us too.
And also myself.
Thank you, Lob, for the opportunity. It's indeed there are concerns regarding uptake of the vaccines. We are aware Uganda is a country that has ratified conventions that relate to observance of human rights. It would be important the minister clarifies if the issue of vaccine is indeed a mandate or it is an issue of choice. Just like some people have concerns relating to religious beliefs, there are people who think their age cannot allow them to take the vaccine. There are those who say the emergency use approval cannot warrant their safety. And I think there are a lot of issues that needed to be debated, but that environment has not been provided. What we see in many places is a tone that seems to be intimidating. And most importantly, the legality of all this we are doing as a law-abiding country must be upheld. So the information I want to give you is that people who are not taking these vaccines have concerns, and the minister should respond to those concerns. If there was time, we would highlight those concerns. Thank you.
Other information.
With the permission of the Speaker, to accommodate two more colleagues. Thank you. The Honourable Aol.
Yes, thank you very much, Right Honourable Leader of Opposition. Thank you, Madam Speaker. We all appreciate that this COVID-19 is a new disease. And we love to have more and more information on this new disease. In Gulu, as I try to disseminate and encourage people to go for vaccination, some teachers who lost their colleague, they lost their colleague after vaccination. And probably there could be people with some special conditions that would not have to go and take this vaccine. So I want to just tell you that 2 teachers died in Gulu after vaccination. So this is the information I want to give people. One more information on
the disease. Thank you.
Information.
I'll take from Dr. Abed and Honorable Serukenya and the seed ground.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker.
No, you took over the role.
I just want to inform the Minister, the Honorable Minister, that in the last wave, the second wave, the epicenters which were major, they were schools. I want to know from you, have you come up with different SOPs for these schools? Are you going to manage them differently? We are sending kids to schools again. We want to hear from you. What is your plan, a different one for these schools? And then lastly, about the medical workers who are at the front line. Many of them came down with COVID, and some of them succumbed to COVID. They died. Have you compensated their families? Have you compensated those who are still alive? We want to know from you. That's the information. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Leader of Opposition.
I said right
my presumption was when you spoke, you had spoken for opposition, but I'm also glad you took over the role of a speaker, and congratulations. Honorable Minister, can we have a statement from you? Imat, you have something?
Right Honorable Speaker, I have a very important issue to raise. The good thing about the Minister of Health is that she comes excellently prepared, and sometimes we forget some of the underlying issues. Right Honorable Speaker, the Minister, I've read the report. The Minister has not come up with a commitment from government as to how and when the facilitation of health workers will be improved. Because right now, although they are working 24 hours, Madam Speaker, you are a woman like me, and we are lucky to have a woman in that docket. Whether your son or your daughter, who is working 24 hours, and you facilitate this person only 5,000 shillings, it's unfair. So, Right Honorable Speaker, through my network, I've come to discover that there are so many agencies who are willing to help the government, but the government is not coming out with a commitment. So can the minister assure us that you have a commitment to improve the allowances for the health workers? Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, I wanted to call the Leader of Opposition on order, because the boy child is complaining that when they are vaccinated, they will not function properly or whatever. And Right Honorable Speaker, some years back, borrow from me, there was a famine in Uganda, and the first time yellow posho was brought in the country. And so many men were saying, if you eat the yellow posho, you will not function properly. Now, so one of the leaders coined a very good message and said, by the way, when I started eating yellow maize, my wife produced twins. So the Leader of Opposition should go on the floor of Parliament and say, by the way, I've been vaccinated twice, and I've even married my second, third wife. You know, this is a message which you are, of course, as a Christian, I would discourage you from doing that. But let them know that it has made you better, and that will encourage others who are discouraged. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I wanted to tell my Leader of Opposition that when you take that kind of leadership, you have to be positive and tell the people, tell the country that all is well. Because if you don't, some people who believe in the tradition and whatnot may think, you see, even the Leader of Opposition spoke the other day and he wasn't sure of himself. And that will discourage the nation. So, Right Honorable Speaker, the Leader of Opposition was very smart. He ran away from me as if he knew, he read my mind, that I was going to call him to order. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you, honorable members. Honorable members, we have a very, very important activity that we need to perform this afternoon. It is an international activity. where we shall be receiving the Olympic torch at 4:30 here in Parliament. We'll leave Parliament and go and receive the Olympic torch. And the Olympic torch, you are aware we are preparing it for the Commonwealth Games, which are going to be hosted in UK on 28th July to 8th August in 2022. The game organizers will stage the official Queen Baton Relay and of Her Majesty, and this relay is visiting from country to country. Now, this afternoon, it will be in Uganda at 4:30. It will be brought to Parliament of Uganda, and we'll go and receive it from outside our building here at 4:30. So even when we are debating, we should be mindful, 4:30, we have that activity that we are going to perform. So, Honorable Minister of ICT, and we have only 15 minutes to that.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, and the honorable members. I thank the Minister of Health. I just rose to provide some information, particularly in response to some of the issues raised. Yes, these vaccines went through emergency approvals, but the process of developing them follows the same protocols, that the vaccine candidates are initially tried on animal models, and if they pass, they are tried on human beings through 3 phases of clinical trials, and the side effects, the efficacy, the safety issues are all assessed. And when they pass, that's when they are approved. As a scientist, I have read extensively from the trials which were done, and they were being done in various countries like AstraZeneca. The trials were done in Brazil, in UK, and South Africa. And most of the fears that people are raising are unfounded because the documentation does not indicate that these side effects were found. And therefore, issues like impotence are not recorded as side effects which were observed. And I'm sure most of us, men in this House who are very active, we have received 2 doses. Personally, I have received the 2 doses, and I don't find I don't find any problem. I am actually feeling more potent than how I was. So the assurance I just wanted to give the members, the honorable members in this House, is that globally there are campaigners against vaccines. So they post a lot of false information which can be misleading. But for us as medical scientists, we are satisfied that the vaccines have no serious side effects to warrant anybody to fear them. That's why we have taken. Okay, yes.
Honorable Minister?
Yes.
Are you done?
Madam Speaker,
okay, maybe because of the pressure of time.
The clarification I wanted to seek. Yes. The Minister is speaking about impotence, but the Honourable Member sought up information about underperformance. Impotence is at a senior high level of performance. I wanted the Minister to clarify whether it doesn't lessen performance. I'm not talking, not impotence.
Members,
there is no
honorable members, you mean you've reduced this House to discuss about your private life? Why don't you go for a sex conference somewhere? Huh? If you have that problem, go to Mukamachi.
Right, Honorable Speaker, there is no documented evidence that men who participated in these trials sexually underperformed. So that evidence is not there. So you should not be worried that you will sexually underperform. The evidence is not there. I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Minister Chen.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Allow me to thank the honorable members for the questions and the encouragement. Right Honorable Speaker, I will be very quick. Money sent to the district task forces being less. Right Honorable Speaker, the districts are under the Ministry of Local Government. Money was channeled through Ministry of Local Government for implementation. I therefore request that if there is opportunity, the Minister of Local Government is given time to explain. Are there exemptions to the vaccine? Not that I know of. Actually, those who are more vulnerable to infection should get vaccinated first. People with cancer, diabetes, hypertension, HIV, and many others. You need to get vaccinated first because you need to be protected. Why are we vaccinating only 18 years and above and not the children? Right Honorable Speaker, research is still ongoing in children. One research in the US has showed good effectiveness in children 12 to 17 years if they are vaccinated with the Pfizer vaccine. Otherwise, all the other vaccines are still undergoing clinical trial, and we are waiting their report, but we have taken good note of the research that took place in the US, and our scientists are considering it very seriously. The issue of the students in the tertiary institutions. Right Honorable Speaker, they can use their identity cards. That is allowed. However, students being denied entry is very unfortunate because these students have been at home. It was not easy to access them. And since they came back to school, working with Ministry of Education, we have agreed that the tertiary institutions will have outreach centers in their compounds. Come 15th, we are staging ourselves there to vaccinate them so that they can all be vaccinated. And I will pass on the information to the Minister of Education to ensure that students are not turned back home. Right Honorable Speaker, the issue of development and manufacture of vaccines is under the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, and I will request that at an opportune time she can update us. The issue of waiting time being too long, yes, in my statement I clearly stated that initially there were fewer vaccination sites, but we have opened up more and we have opened up outreaches, and we are even moving region by region. So the question of waiting for too long does not arise. We have given opportunity for all forms of identification to be used, so nobody should get worried. The members who have not got their certificates, we regret and apologize for that. If we can have the names, we will work out and give you the certificates. Right Honorable Speaker, we no longer have challenges of inadequate vaccines, so nobody should be worried that we won't have enough vaccines. However, for those who want to use Covidex or Covilice, you are free to use it. It was cleared by NDA. However, it is still undergoing clinical trials. It is not yet approved, and that you can use it, for everything. It is still undergoing clinical trials. Right Honorable Speaker, I request my brother, because it is going to be 4:30 when I have not finished.
So the clarification I am seeking, if for the first dose I got AstraZeneca and you don't have it available, can I get Johnson? Can I get the one?
Right Honorable Speaker, I was coming to that. But since my brother is impatient, and is a good brother to me, I will answer him. Yes, if you got AstraZeneca, you can only get Pfizer. That is the only research that has been concluded. Otherwise, you cannot mix vaccines. And we discourage mixing vaccines. Our own scientists are doing a study on mixing the vaccines, just like any other countries. But members don't mix vaccines because evidence has not been shown through research. Right Honorable Speaker, the 18.5 billion that was provided by this August House, I did talk about it, and it is under financing for vaccines, where I gave a breakdown of the supplementaries of the 18.5 and also what we have used so far. Right Honorable Speaker, it is on page 17. I request my brother, the Leader of Opposition, to turn with me there. That amount of money, the 619 billion shillings, has already been used. Government of Uganda has paid for her vaccines. We used that money to pay for Johnson & Johnson. The 80 billion that was provided, we have used. So, Right Honorable Speaker, later on, I can give my brother more information. The logistics to motivate health workers, and allow me to thank my mother for a very passionate appeal. Right Honorable Speaker, it is true that we have been facilitating our health workers with 5,000 shillings. The 5,000 shillings was being given with the knowledge that vaccination would take place at the health facilities. Those are the static sites. And the assumption was that people would come willingly and get vaccinated at the static sites. We have been trying that for so many months, since March to date. And the truth is, people are not coming. It is easier to get numbers when we move closer to the people, and perhaps that is why we have very few elderly people who are vaccinated, because distances to the facilities are far for them. So, Right Honorable Speaker, we have discussed this issue because in our routine vaccination, whenever we have campaigns, we facilitate the health workers with a safari day allowance of 12,000 and a transport allowance of 8,000, making it a total of 20,000. And we have agreed with our partners that health workers should be motivated as such. Do I have the resources to answer my brother? No, I don't have. I've not mobilized enough. I have mobilized some to take me to Teso, to take me to Lango, to take me to Acholi, to take me to Chigezi. What has been given to me is by partners. I need support because the health workers need to be motivated if we are to utilize all these vaccines without expiry, which is one of our objectives clearly written in the plan. Right Honorable Speaker, again allow me to thank my mother and Honorable Chris for ably answering the issues concerning the boy child. I will only add that research has not documented that issue as one of the side effects. Death or infection after getting COVID-19 vaccination. Yes, Right Honorable Speaker, infection after vaccination has been documented. And that is why we are very clear to say that the vaccines prevent you from getting severe disease and death. We have not said it prevents you from getting disease. However, getting only one dose is not 100% guarantee that you will not get severe infection. So for you to be fully covered, you need to get 2 doses, and you're only sure 14 days after the second dose. We have documented a few people who have gotten the first dose, and we have lost a few. But those, after 2 doses, we don't have any documentation of severe disease and death. On the issue of schools, Right Honorable Speaker, I provided information on what we are doing with schools under surveillance. In my statement, beginning on page 3, I have stated clearly that we are supporting head teachers to carry out surveillance and report. We are also following up on a rapid antigen test for self-tests. We are also designating sick bays as isolation units for mildly sick children, and we are equipping them with basic information and prevention control materials. The standard operating procedures remain the same. They are the same worldwide. Compensating medical workers who die. Right Honorable Speaker, we compiled a list and forwarded to the Ministry of Gender. The Ministry of Health does not compensate. It is the work of gender. And Right Honorable Speaker, allow me to say a big thank you to this august House. We have truly got very good support during this COVID pandemic and for all our interventions, for which we are truly grateful. I thank you.
Members, thank you so much, Honorable Minister. And as Parliament of Uganda will continue supporting you in ensuring that the lives of our people are protected, especially during this COVID-19. And as it was said yesterday, let's not just debate here, but talk about it. Tell people what COVID-19 is, the dangers, and encourage them to keep the SOPs. Right Honorable Prime Minister, I want to register my apology. And being the leader of government business, whatever takes place in the country concerns you. I know it's time for Prime Minister's time, but also the activity out there that is waiting for us is still your activity as a leader of government business. This is a very important activity for us. It's a very important activity for us that has been scheduled for 4:30. And let's receive the relay, and then we leave it, proceed to another country. And because Joseph, why don't we first do? I thought you're a sports person, and I thought you love Uganda. Not every country gets this opportunity. Members, I therefore adjourn the House to Tuesday next week. But please, all of us go and receive the relay.
ninye Honorable Kangwage, member wa Parliament wanyu aha Bwabukanga Isingiro district. Omuramwa omuhango nagetereine omukurwanisa omuzugu kandi oburwaire obuturukumanya nka corona erukuretwa akakoko akubarkweta coronavirus ninga shei turukweta COVID-19. Endwara ejo n'endwara eri mu ihanga lyona kandi no munsi yona. Endwara ejo teine myaka, teine buhango, teine basheija, teine bakazi, teine bana, nekwata omuntu we no kworukona uburyo umugaiga, uburyo mworo, uburyo mukazi, uburyo mwana konka nekukwateta kurabira ombicweka nkabishatu aha mubiri gwawe, amaisho, enyindo hamwe n'akano. Konka ebyo byonshatu ebinagamba nekukwata waheza kukwata omungaro z'omuntu ogine ninga yakorra akakakorga yakakorro kacheka kakushika hamuno ninga amaisho indwara ejo nekukwata ninga wakwata ha kintu cyona aha muntu ogine yaba nho yakwata. Konka cyo mugisha murungi abarku mpurikiza ninga abarkundeba endwara ejo neyerindwa kandi netambirwa. Nyenzere ngo kintu ekyo tikiho omutekateko by'abantu ninga shit change cy'abazungu barkweta ngo mindset entekateka. Endwara ejo nekira kandi nekingirwa. Nekingirwa wajwara maski ngumbaza go kubanza. Hata abantu beitu nanye Kangwage urukubagambira maski nendemeta okusiba nyifundikire nentutere nyindo nemfunza nenshereka nentsenshoni oshoti ninduga abantu konka kaizire kemberu ntitekwa kugemera aha bukuba ngumbaza go kubanza ombaza go kubanza ombaza gwono gubeto ombaza tarwa higura beire murungi no wamera kororo kwini no wari ya chapambarasi no wari ya panado neshar konka notekwa kugira yabo kuba magara nugumagana. Abanyankore twine mfumu zeitu ngu omoro no wafa ko kubotarho no buryo mworo kandi okufutaga kwarfu kona no kuragusa mbwene mureketara gururizo mu maski ko kwekingira oriyo inakakoko tukarkwija kukwata. Ekindi kya kabiri twehare kukwata no mungaro, twehare okugwana mbifuba, turyo mu mbaga nemfu aha abantu binge hibari, turyo mu masenta, turyo mu nterane, turyo mu nkungano. Biti utotine kintu ekiri kukinga amakanisa kikabinga abana b'amashomero mu mashomero bakagaruka mu maka. Endwara ejina kugira ngo uteine mukamayo ngugu no mugeiga ngugu ashomere ngugu no mukazi ngugu no mutsigazi neita abana bato. Mbwene ekyo mugisho murungi kindi kinakugambira nakugira ngo nekingirwa maski nekingirwa kwehara nekingirwa kuzo mu nterane nekingira ebi byona waba nojwara maski no nabo mu ngaro otarukwata nambantu utagwana mbifuba. Ekya kabiri ekindi kwenda kubashobora we cyamani banywana banje bampurikize na munonga abanyabukanga tugerezeho nkamembazi ba parliament tukwatanise n'ikitongore kibyemagara nengendero roho kitinza president Museveni yesire natugambira abantu mukagera za TV nyenzire ngo tukoreki okwemanya no yemanyota hati tugenzire twatazi tukweta ngo testing kits aha marwaro health center series ito mu rubukanga mbere mwahurire audio yanjye nebirango byanjye tugira ngo za abendinzi town council yona na Rwanjogera muze mu ndinzi health center series mwekebeze reka kwenda kutegereza ubwashasha abarwambaga mwena muziri wambaga here senta siri abambare abemeruka nkogwa cyabhesi nkogwa cyanda nkogwa burigi nkogwa tete hamwe na bwango town kanso yona mwije mbare here senta siri na Nyamarungi twekebeze aha bwenje ntwekebeza kwenda kumanya amagara gaitu okugari aha bo kuba twena bonero tubukushana harwa be kukwata ukashanga atine na rukoru atine na chinzi konka ine mwakashwija aina mwakashwija amajunu gamuhurra emikono tekikwataje na huratarije na afundurwa iroko yekebeze kumarahize kwemanya washanga ukurukona omushaboneja kwereza obuja kwereza obujanja by'ubwo kwenda bwona nicyo rakoze se obone kutambira amagaraga abagenzi bawe nabandi mukama abampera umugisha hanga buri mwezi witu.
Yoga kere ikatunga luo Soroti City. Eka Kiror Achom Joan Alobo, Woman MP Soroti City. Ajai ngone ainer akironwe kamanara kede COVID. Nada kwane jai oreria walk. Elomarti okalia walk. Atutu bena walk. Ajeningo atwakatiche anwe COVID-19. Ejasi chede kasi, ejasa dekisha, ejasa oreria. Adekisha kere ileleba. Mam apugan, idadekisha nu apugan, epedorete ayangaroni kere. Ileleba, emame space. Ajai ngone alimokinoni, ebe abuade kana. Atwakatiche, erokiche jarete, ejasa okalia walk. Anu angun elipitengo ebe atupata beroni akironu ebala eriongetela ngaleu ebe oni aitup nudelo sete kwanata anapata mask inapija mask mami jala ini aituk kedi kumes ongara orapaka itukes kedi kumes kere kedi keperin kere na yare kini halotataakanin keda sabunyu kede sanitizer are jai konye are mame ejoka sabunyu ojai olosi jakanin angoni sawa na iwuni kini mami tingi akonye ekume keda ituk bon narai nen etori adekana aboyoto alaini kina mami chamuni ai boy oyapia ikedi tungana narai mamji jenuni arai mutan ejatara dek arai mam